oil barrels delivery to the Silver Quarry in Zherbai Quarries. Hello everybody and welcome to another exciting episode of SnowRunner here at OPAFed Gaming. I am the OPAFed. We got the call to go out and pick up 4 pallets of oil barrels down at the fuel station and deliver it to the Silver Quarry. Now this particular part of the task is part of the Fury Road task, which is part of the KAZ Minerals PLC contract. Now, we delivered the other day, we delivered a cistern to the new Zherbai Quarry, which was the first part of this task. Now we got to do the oil barrel. So we're going to go down just south of the garage. We're going to travel past the warehouse and that little detour that they've been working on since we came to the map. The Zherbai Quarries map, which by the way is the only map in the Almaty region, and we've done all the tasks and everything else, and we are now we're into the last 2 contracts, or actually only 2 contracts, but near the end of both of them, and soon we'll be finishing up with the Zherbai Quarries and then we'll be moving on. But we are not there yet. So as we are approaching the warehouse and the little detour, we just go around it. Fairly simple job to go around it. And just down the road up ahead is the fuel station on the left-hand side. Now, this truck is a little bit longer than the other trucks that I use for normal jobs. I could have gone down and taken 2 pallets of oil barrels down, come back and got 2 more. But I figured rather than doing that, let's try and get it done in one shot. But I wanted to do it with a truck and not a truck and trailer. So I decided on the Kenworth 963 because I can put 3 pallets of oil barrels in the back deck and then put 1 on top of that and hold it there. Now, I could have gone with the Western Star 6900 twin steer or the FEM AT37. I can't remember what the code number was. They both have 4-slot cargo bed, but the FEM has an articulating head, which makes it really difficult to steer. And the twin steer is very narrow and sways a lot, and is also obviously a lot longer truck frame. So I decided to go with this one and try this out. So we're going to put 1 pallet on the loading platform, 3 on the back of the truck, and then we'll pick that last one up and we'll drop it on top. We'll kind of put it over top of the separation between the 3rd and the 4th pallet, kind of split it over top of those 2. The reason being for that is when you put it on top of there and you bring your crane down, your crane kind of forms a kind of a half loop, and you can take the tip of the crane and push it down on the pallet and help hold it there. I don't know if it makes a big difference, but it seems to hold it fairly steady there. So that's the way we like to do it. Then we're just gonna back it up out of here and just refuel the tank. Because, like I said, you never know what's gonna happen, so let's keep the fuel tank as full as possible. Not that 13-14 liters, I would imagine, is going to make much of a difference for anybody that's watching. But another good thing about when we're coming in here to fuel up is that we have the chance to change the time ahead too and give us a little bit more daylight, and we can carry on with our journey. And away we go. So as we're coming up the road here, like I said, I find it easier to do it this way than to pull a trailer. I always have this big fear of driving in somewhere with a trailer and then not being able to get out. It hasn't happened yet, and I'm not the best for backing up trailers, so I try to avoid it if I can. Of course, you can't avoid it all the time. We have driven and pulled a construction rig semi-trailer to the bottom of the Silver Quarry. So we have done that. It was a difficult journey. It was a hard task, but a great accomplishment when we finally got it done. So now we're going to try it with the Kenworth. We've been down there before, but it's never been without any incidents. There's always been some adventurous little points in the journey, I suppose. So far we've been driving on paved road and everything's going fairly easy, but we're going to go off the road to go four-wheeling here. And there again, like I keep preaching to everybody, including myself mostly, is go slow. Go slow and take it easy, because when you go too fast, that's when you're making mistakes, and that's when you overshoot, and that's when you start to create problems for yourself, especially when you got to go through areas that are tilted from side to side. Sometimes if you take it easy and go slow, you can get through them without much of an incident. But if you go too fast and you hit a rock on one side or the other and it bounces your truck a little bit, well, you see where I'm going with that. Anyhow, this part of the journey is still fairly straightforward and without too many problems, unless of course you are not paying attention, you drive right off the road, which we try not to do. Although it has happened before where you don't realize the road is turning and you keep going straight. Anyhow, through here we've got a little bridge up ahead of us to the right hand side there. Now we're going to cross over that bridge. The Silver Quarry is just up ahead. If you go straight, then you'd be going towards the new slate quarry where we were at the other day delivering a cistern. And that was with the Avonhorn and a 5-slot trailer. Luckily that adventure went all right. It's up on the site. Give it a check and see what you think of it. Anyhow, that was the first part of the task. This is the second one, and for some reason I always find that it irritates me when the cargo isn't straight, so I have to straighten it out. Make of that what you will. I find it is weird, but okay. Now it looks right. Anyhow, this is the Silver Quarry. We got a long ways to go to get to the bottom. And like I mentioned before, and if you've been watching my videos, you know that there are a few places that are of interest. Yeah, they're coming up pretty quick. They're of interest because they make it, I don't want to say difficult. They make it interesting in the fact that if you attack them the right way, you'll have no problems. If you attack the problem areas a little bit too hard or on the wrong footing, then you're going to have all sorts of problems. And the very first one that I always keep saying is patience and slow. Speed will cause you nothing but aggravation and problems. And if you go slow, it's easier to back up and change your angle or change the route. So with any kind of an area where you tend to tilt from left to right or right to left, also if you go through those areas faster, you might hit a rock and it might just be enough of a tipping point to knock you over. So any of those kinds of areas, if you go slow, and there's one that's up ahead, I'll point it out when we get to it. I believe it is right there in front of us. And if you go through that, the dirt area right in front of you can't tell from here, but it's angled from right to left. And if you go through that too fast, you will roll, and you'll end up rolling all the way to the bottom. But if you go through it slow, your truck will stick to the ground, and it will not flip over. Right over in here, you can see how much of an angle it is now, and you can feel it when you're trying to drive the truck. It wants to flip. But a little patience, a little slower, and we make it through okay. And it ends up not being much of a problem. And we have a few areas like that. But like I said, that's okay. That's part of the game. And that's the part you got to watch out for. So, same thing with these mud pits. You know, they're not too much of a problem for the Kenworth. But if you go through here with smaller vehicles and you stay to the side of the mud pit, it's not as much of a problem than if you go through the middle of it. But for the Kenworth, it's not much of an issue. Now, up in the distance, you can see a truck out there, and that's our Plaid 450. And We've had him out here. He helped us when we brought the construction rig semi-trailer through here. Now, we've got a little bit of a dip here, and if you go through this too fast and you go through it with a truck like the Avonhorn that has a long nose, you end up hitting the other end. So go a little bit slower through here. Anyhow, back to the plan. When we came through here with the Avonhorn and the construction rig semi-trailer, we pulled it around a corner, but because it's such a tight corner and very, very narrow, the back end of the trailer was going to roll right off the cliff. So I had brought the plat out, and I pulled the trailer through there right up until the back end was right in front of the plat, and then I took the plat and I pushed the back end over so it would not roll off the side of the hill. You'll see in a second here how if you have a truck and a trailer to try and make the turn to the left here is almost impossible. And that's why I use the Avonhorn, it being such a short frame trailer. And as you can see, very, very narrow. And if you do drive too close to the edge, those rocks on the left-hand side of my front tire right now, they will break away if I was any closer to the edge. And if they break away, then you will slide down the hill at the same time. So we brought the plat out to give us a hand, which is another reason why I didn't want to pull the trailer down here again. I figured the Kenworth would do a little bit better job of going through there, and I was right. We made it through there much, much easier. This is a little bit of a tough area because you've got to stay in the lower part on the left-hand side. And you always tend to want to stick to the cliff side, the rocky side, so that you don't slide off there. But we made it through. And we got one other area up ahead here, but it's just a little ways in front of us, and it's an area that's narrow, and it angles from the right to the left. It always seems to want to angle towards the inside of the crater, right? Anyhow, there's a little ledge right. It's just in front of me here. It's hard to see, but there's a little stone ledge that juts out into the track. Now, if you tried to pass it on the left-hand side, you would fall off. The rocks would break away. You would fall off. But if you keep your right-hand tires on top of the ledge, like I'm doing there, just getting off of there now, then the rocks won't break away. But you don't really want to do that because you're angled so far. You know, it's tough driving like that. Anyhow, we got through it, so we turned the lights back on for ourselves, keeping it a little bit dark, made it not quite so scary. And now I'm not sure if there is any more real pitfalls along the way here, other than if you just drive it clean. For most of these little tracks, if you drive it slowly and you take your time, you should have no trouble getting down to the bottom, as long as your truck's got enough power to do the job that you're looking for it to do. If you're overloading a little truck, you might not be able to do it. But with this truck, there is no issue as long as you go slow. The only issue with the Kenworth is the size of the truck. If the job allows it, use it. If it doesn't allow it, if the truck's too big for the job, then obviously you can't use it. Like, I would never attempt to pull a trailer around that tight corner with the Kenworth. It's just because the trailers hook onto the very back of the frame, and look at how much longer it is than the Avonhorn. So it just wouldn't be a feasible idea. Well, we got one more tight little area right here where there's just enough room to get by, but it looks a little scary because there's a drop off there, and you could slide down there. And then just up here, I've been having nothing but trouble with this rock on the left-hand side in front of me. So I decided this time to just make a little bit of a wider turn and just try to get, I'm going to have to, I made my turn a little bit too wide, so I'm going to have to jockey it back. But that's okay, because at least this made it much, much easier to get through here. I've been attacking this little S-curve, the rock chicane, a little bit too straight on, but if you take a turn at it, it's a little bit easier. Well, We're almost there. We're right at the bottom, and we're going to drop off the bottom 3. Then we're going to repack. We're going to drop that top one off the crane, and we're going to repack it onto the deck. We're going to deliver that one too, and the Fury Road task will be done, and we'll be one step closer to finishing the KAZ Minerals PLC contract. Anyhow, it was an awesome delivery. It was really enjoyable. I love driving to Kenworth, and I hope you found the video interesting, and I hope you even got some tips and tricks out of it. And if not, if you just came to watch it just for the fun, that'd be awesome too. I mean, watch it, enjoy it, share it, like it, subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss out on any upcoming videos, because we got some good ones coming up. We're not finished here yet, and we got some big cutscenes coming up when we get these quarries back up and running. Anyhow, until then, you've been driving and delivering oil barrels to the Silver Quarry in Zherbai Quarries in a Kenworth 963, with me as your driver, Yo Perfect.